Good morning, traders. This is Wilkey with Startup Trading. It is Thursday, May 28, 2020. It's 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time, and we had news this morning that GDP came out at minus 5% when the expectations were minus 4.8%. If you ask me, that's just pretty much in line. So, as we are looking here at yesterday's action, you can see that this is where value was from Tuesday, and then opened, made a nice overnight high, came down. We're dropping a little bit coming into the open for the Russell. Went back down and then shot back up. And this is right around 10 till 11 or so, I think, is when this happened Eastern yesterday. So, and then it was just straight up. If you look at the 1 hour bars, I'll have to go back and look, but when I went to sleep last night, there were 10 1 hour bars that were green. There wasn't one red hour bar coming out of this low. So we'll see what happens now going in, and we'll look at it. So let's look at today's action or the news overnight. So we had our preliminary GDP. We're going to have pending home sales at 10 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not. And then Friday, we're going to have personal spending at 8:30. 9:45 Chicago PMI, 10 o'clock revised consumer sentiment. So, basically right around the bell, there's going to be a lot of news. And then we have a bonus tomorrow, with it being Friday, with Jerome Powell on a mic at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So let's go back down and look at our 10-day range analysis, and we can see that yesterday, bell to bell, we had 66.5 points. Median's 42, so we had range expansion, right? And it basically engulfed, ending on the upside yesterday. Over the session was 74, the median 64. So again, range expansion. Overnight was 52 basically compared to 49, and the first hour was 30 basically compared to 22. Looking at the strength, visually here for the indexes, you can see 5-day Russell leader, NASDAQ laggard. 10-day, same thing, Russell leader, NASDAQ laggard. 15-day Russell, NASDAQ, you get in the picture here. 20 days, we got Russell, then NASDAQ, then Dow, then ES is the laggard over 20 days. Looking at the 60-day cash, you can see how far above the NASDAQ is and everything else. And that's probably why it's kind of flat lining up here, as people are really distributing the shares of those stocks, right, and going into the other shares, right, trying to play catch up. So you can see that on 60-day cash, which is basically about almost 3 months of trading, those are trading days, that, the Russell is, pretty much even with the Dow now. Looking at the year to date, and you can see that the Russell is still playing catch up here. So this is what I gave the subscribers to the newsletter I put out yesterday, about 20 minutes before the session started. So these were some overnight support areas, potential support areas for the ES. So 30.32 basically held for the first several hours and spiked up into 50. And then we've come back down and we've hit this 2750 basically, and we've stalled out in front of it, bouncing back and forth. But this is the floor right now. The next major support I have down is 3019 quarter, followed by 3004 and 2993.50. So I'm expecting this 3019 area, if it does trade, within a few points to value area high, and this 3015 is right around where value area high is to be potential support if we're going to continue this positivity from yesterday. So if we look at the overnight action, just under 26 points at 25.75 points. Here are those markers that I was saying last night. So you can see that after the session open, which is right here, come back down, barely dipped under that 32, come back up, hit this 53.75, come back down, and really traded close to these 2750s once, come back up, couldn't take out the high, right? Come back down again, pretty much tagged it. Again, we hit 30.28, bouncing up. And this marker here, we can call it sky when it happens at upside. These are where traders traded above the bell print before the session closed yesterday. This happened on all four of the indexes as well. So if we look at all four of the indexes, you can see we'll call this sky, right? The bulls need to keep it above this level to keep getting paid. It's the opposite of the underwater close. So we'll see how it goes. I know see what happens with this, but like I said, I'm expecting this 3019. We've had two tests of the 2750, so if 3019 trades to 3015.75, which is value area high, I'm expecting that to be first test responsive as well, and then we'll see if we break back up to the upside. Watch the NASDAQ because it has been the laggard, right? It's the only one that's still in value tonight. So if you look at the solid lines here, value area low for the NASDAQ, 92.34, value area high, sitting up here at 93.77.75 for the NASDAQ with a point of control yesterday at 9,300. So my point to all that with the NASDAQ is that it's inside of value. If you look at the other side, other indexes, the Russell is trading 1447. Value area high is 1429.40. The ES is trading 38.5. Value area high is 1575. The Dow is trading 25,692. Value area high is 25,289. So these other three are substantially above value from yesterday, right? Two of them are above the sky that printed at the end of the session last night, and the NASDAQ the laggard again. So again, if you want to try to short, if you're a bear and you just have to short something, the NASDAQ is your most beneficial play and probably going to hurt you the least. If you want to try to get long something on anything, the Russell's going to give you the most beta, right? So, and just middle of the road is going to be the Dow and the ES. Remember, the ES is actually the laggard over like the last 15 days now. So as we look at, how this can potentially set up, let's look at the overnight sequences. Sorry about that. So let me grab the ES here. So you can see on these sequences with the sky in here, every time a new high is made or a new low is made, this bull check resets. So it's, made a new low, right? Made a new low. So we've had three incremental lower lows overnight, but they haven't really gone anywhere, right? They've held this 30.27.5 so far in the overnight session. Looking for the bears coming out of this high up here at 30.53.75, right? They're not doing anything either. This orange line is the line in the sand that the bears need to hold to get anything going to the downside. They broke. It's like a broken record. So looking at the NASDAQ, reset on these lows, come back up, and really can't get anything going. Just reset again. But if you look at the bearish chart on the NASDAQ, right, it only broke this area here, and it hit the sky when it did after hitting that 94.81.75. So it's in this down sequence. It just hit targets. So we'll see now if it can go up to 83.86 for the next sell point to 94.04 half. And these are just session micro draws, by the way. So looking at the Russell, you can see it only had one incremental lower low, and it was very incremental, right? So coming out of here, but it's been sloppy as well. And then, so just really status quo going across here. I think we were waiting on GDP this morning. We've had it now. So looking at the longer term charts for the ES, we're going to watch those smaller levels, right, for day trading. But as far as, anyone trying to put on a swing, this is where we're at right now, right? There is really no resistance for the ES. I'll go ahead and throw a couple up here now. Until you get up to like 32.20 almost, there's really, nothing going on up here. So holding this 30.27 is a much bigger deal than all these other little areas that we've been crossing over the last 2 months, right? This is where the money is either going to be, made or lost if we end up retracing up here. That's another 200 points higher potentially. So again, this 3027 is going to be as important going forward as this 2881 was a few weeks ago. So maybe we'll get a little dancing back and forth across it this week, but look for that to be the line in the sand. And don't discount the fact that although this should be an area where we're starting to sell and distribute shares, we can just take another leg higher from here. We don't have to retrace. That's, I think, where most people are looking is for the retracement, but we have our lines in the sand that we can watch. And if we zoom back into, day trading levels, this 3019, if we lose the 27, come down to 19, and then respond and close above 27, that's going to be even more bullish, I believe. Otherwise, we're just going to sit here and flirt around this area, and I think it's just going to be a slow melt up. And you could have some volatility to the upside and some downside as we wiggle through that zone. Looking at the NASDAQ, let's back out and look a little bit. Again, this is the weakest link. You can almost see a downtrend, high, lower high, lower high, lower high. But remember, it is so far ahead of everyone else that I just think, a lot of times in Wall Street, you'll get this where, they sell shares that they think are overpriced and they put them into shares that they think are overpriced. Everyone's seeing the outperformance of the Russell that's looking right now and the underperformance for the NASDAQ. So it's kind of like a herd mentality. It might not force the NASDAQ to go, substantially lower. I would be surprised if it gets down under 8,900, to be honest with you, in the next 2 weeks. But it could sit here and go nowhere to the upside, and then every time it rallies, it could be a pain point. And 92.50 would be the downside. And to be honest with you, it might have a little bit of a hard time getting below 92.76. So if you want to get long something, to me, you should think of the NASDAQ as dead money and stay away from it. So looking at the Russell, look how beautiful this is. Resistance, sold, resistance, sold, resistance, sold. It finally breaks through it. It goes up 2 steps up, right? Comes back up yesterday. Checks it almost perfectly at this 1377.30, and now back off to the races potentially. And again, there's nothing up above here until 1582.30. This is what traders are, real traders are looking at as they see us breaking into this void from the sell-off, right? Look at all this churning we had to do to get through all these levels. Well, there's no levels in here. You're in open air, basically. And it's not going to just fly up there today, but it should be migrating up in the zone. And we'll see if we get a pause that is something that we can trade against later. But right now, if you're looking to short the Russell, I think you're making a mistake. Looking at the Dow. So the Dow just is banging its head on 25,750. So remember, it had started outperforming the ES a little bit. So as it does this, this is going to be a level for it to watch. And to the downside, I'm not going to put a marker here, but 25,380 is really what you want to see hold. On the downside, you want to see this previous high hold, and that would be a bullish check. The other thing that can happen is you can cross over 25,750, right? And that ends up, this whole little chunk ends up being supportive, right? So you don't want to see the bottom of this being taken out, basically, if you're long. So I do have some zones above here still at 26,297, 26,510, and then all the way up at 27,100 is the major resistance above. So looking back at all the equity indexes, trying to put a wrap on this. So if you want to get short, remember the point of control is likely to be tested. We're close to it for the NASDAQ, but it doesn't mean that we're going to have a repeat of yesterday and take out yesterday's low. unless these other three indexes can get below the sky markers that I have on here, you're unlikely to get traction below yesterday's low for the NASDAQ. However, looking at the downside, since I've been such a bull this morning on my notes, if we do start getting below the sky, right, and it ends up being resistance, then we can end up, I would look for a value area low. And remember, these stair steps that we have in here are really what you want to watch. So I'll read them one more time. You got 30.32, I think is washed out now, but you got 30.27.5, which is just 2 ticks under the overnight low. So you can come down here or take out that overnight low by, maybe even bleed through here by a point or so, and then respond back, crossing back above this overnight low after taking it out and holding this 30.27 basically will be bullish. If you take it out by more than let's say 2 or 3 points, you're likely to wiggle down closer to 30.19 to value area high, which is 30.1575. I hope this helps. If you like this technical analysis, give the video a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel and you want to see us when we come on, please subscribe. If you would like some footnotes and some more in-depth analysis, there's a link to subscribe to my daily newsletter and my Thinkorswim toss charts. And again, this is what I gave the traders on that last night, 20 minutes before the session opened. And if they were paying attention to that and they were trading the overnight session, I think it was very fruitful for them. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.